Mount Sinai is actually located here, very close to the proposed site of the new Saudi megacity. For now, the northwest corner of Saudi Arabia is home to more camels than people. That would certainly change if Crown Prince Salman's ambitious plans come to fruition. The heir to the Saudi throne recently announced this region as the site of his new $500 billion megacity called Neom.
Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature.
The goal is for up to 9 million people to live here in what's touted as the world's most modern, forward-thinking, and climate-friendly city. Few people, however, know about the deep biblical history of this area. Those who do wonder if the megaproject would help or harm the region's historic value.
Now that Saudi Arabia is open, by the grace of God, the Saudi royal family will be smart enough to preserve and protect this. I believe they will do that. Unfortunately, they are building a highway right through that area, which is...
I was going to ask you about that. So what do you see as the future or the peril of Mount Sinai with the city of Neom clearly being built right now? And you say a highway is going right near there. Do you think they'll protect this as a national park or something? Or
I believe so. I believe so. Unfortunately, so they're putting in, there will be pavement now in between the golden calf altar and the mountain itself. And that road may even be paved right now. Last time I was there, massive construction equipment. There's whole little cities of workers and so forth. And they're building this other ski resort nearby. I think I'm pronouncing it right, Trohena. And they're going to host the Asian Winter Games there in a few years. So think about this. In Saudi Arabia, they're building a ski resort pretty close to Mount Sinai. So that's going to bring a lot of traffic. It's going to bring a lot of visitors, because this used to be out in the middle of nowhere. Now they're going to develop this. Now let me just say this: the city of Neom, the line is this city that will be it's this single building that's 200 plus kilometers long. It's really quite fascinating. There's going to be all sorts of different building. It's very far. This is a huge area. It's quite far from the mountain. It's not like you're going to be on the mountain and just look and see all this development. But my hope, and for everyone, what I've been trying to communicate to the Saudi royal family is that Mount Sinai is the greatest source of revenue imaginable. They will be competing with Israel overnight for Christian tourists, Muslim tourists. This is something, believe it or not, Jews, Muslims, Christians, people from all three of the faiths can go there. It's not contradictory to the Quran, that this is where Moses lived, that Jethro, they call him Shu'aib. This was the Valley of Tor is called in the Quran. It's not contradictory to their story. So they can benefit people, again, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim, and they can make good money doing it. So hopefully they preserve it and protect it, and it doesn't become a place where you got all these people selling trinkets at the base of the mountain, like when you go to Petra or something like that. That would be a tragedy if something so sacred was not truly preserved. We hope that they'll preserve it. This highway going through there is really a massive disappointment, but time will tell.
At least they didn't build it through the golden calf altar.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
As Keith Johnson noted when he went last time, the fence around there, because of a flood, had actually been, part of it had collapsed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so, they're not even really out there that often to keep track of what's going on out there, even weather-wise.
Yeah, everyone's like, I thought the mountain's surrounded by a fence. How'd you get there? And I was like, well, the fence is tipped over. Just walked over it,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And it's like, I liken this to a city where, if there were millions of Israelites, or however many there were, it's like a city that's been abandoned. And then a few people go in and say, oh, I found this artifact, I found that artifact. But there were 1 million people there. There's going to be a ton of stuff to find and show to the world that this really does prove the Israelites, and then prove Exodus, and then prove the validity of the entire Bible. Yeah. And now that is going to be something that the world's going to have to reckon with.
Yeah,
the Exodus did happen.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I'm convinced, when Jesus says the rocks will cry out. If you remain silent, the rocks will cry out. The overwhelming statement throughout the Exodus, Passover, remember. Do not forget. Do not forget. Remember, remember, remember. But really, the whole world's forgotten. I mean, yes, the Jews celebrate Passover. It's the longest, most continuously celebrated holiday in human history. They preserve it, but again, even, you think Reformed Jews, they don't really connect with the story. It's more of a cultural issue. But the Lord is about to remind the whole world, remember this? Remember this. Because again, from a New Testament perspective, the return of Yeshua, all of the imagery of the return of Yeshua is the greater theophany. God came down on the mountain at Mount Sinai. That was intended. The God who wrote this book intended that event to be understood as a faint prophetic foreshadow, a dress rehearsal for the far greater theophany that is to come when he breaks forth from heaven in thick storm clouds, in blazing fire, with armies of angels, with the blasting of trumpets, with a mighty earthquake. All of those things were present at Mount Sinai. He descended on the mountain in fire, in consuming fire. He's coming back in blazing fire. And so because the Lord is preparing the world for the return of Yeshua, he's going to use this historical event. He's going to remind the world in order, I'm convinced, to try to wake people up and prepare for what's coming.